You're not stressed because your life is falling apart. You're stressed because the old version of you is fighting to survive. And if you don't break the habit of being yourself right now, the next 5 years will look exactly like the last 5. Take a breath. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they are predictable. Predictable thoughts, predictable emotions, predictable reactions. Every morning, they wake up as the same personality, replay the same memories, feel the same frustrations, and unknowingly recreate the same future. This audiobook is about one thing: interrupting that cycle. If you're listening to this, you're probably serious, not casually curious, not looking for surface-level motivation. You're under pressure, maybe financial pressure, maybe emotional pressure. Maybe you're tired of being the person who almost changes, but never fully does. Here's the hard truth for the American high-performance culture we live in. Your personality creates your personal reality. And if your personality doesn't change, your personal reality cannot change. You can read more books, watch more videos, set more goals. But if your identity remains wired to stress, doubt, resentment, or scarcity, your subconscious will pull you back to familiar ground. Breaking the habit of being yourself means breaking emotional addiction. Yes, emotional addiction. Most people are addicted to certain emotions: frustration, worry, anger, guilt, comparison, not because they enjoy them, but because they are familiar. The brain loves familiar, even when it's painful. Your body becomes chemically dependent on those emotional states. The moment something triggers them, your nervous system lights up like it's home again, and suddenly you react automatically. You say things you regret. You procrastinate. You sabotage opportunities. You scroll instead of building. You doubt instead of executing, not because you're weak, but because your brain is running an old program. And here's the breakthrough: you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness observing your thoughts. That awareness is power. The average person thinks 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day. And research shows most of them are the same thoughts they had yesterday. That means if you don't consciously intervene, tomorrow will look like today, mentally and emotionally. So how do you break the habit? Step 1. Become conscious of the unconscious. You cannot change what you are not aware of. For 1 week, observe yourself like a scientist. Notice your tone. Notice your complaints. Notice your internal dialogue. Notice what triggers you. Notice when you shrink instead of speak. Notice when you hesitate instead of move. No judgment, just awareness. Because awareness is the first separation from the old self. Step 2. Stop rehearsing your past. Most people wake up and immediately think about problems, deadlines, arguments, bills, past mistakes. The brain doesn't know the difference between memory and reality. So when you relive those moments, your body feels them again. You are literally conditioning yourself into the same emotional state every day. Instead, ask yourself each morning, who do I want to be today? Not what do I need to do? Who do I need to become? Confident, disciplined, calm under pressure, decisive, focused? Close your eyes for a few minutes and mentally rehearse being that version. See yourself responding differently, speaking differently, moving differently. The brain begins wiring new circuits when you repeatedly imagine a new identity with emotional intensity. Step 3. Interrupt emotional reactions in real time. When something triggers you, and it will, pause. Feel the emotion rise. Instead of reacting automatically, breathe deeply. Slow your heart rate. Remind yourself, this is the old program. The moment you resist reacting the old way, you create a new neural pathway. It will feel uncomfortable. Growth always does, because you are literally dismantling a familiar personality. Step 4. Elevate your emotional baseline. You cannot create a powerful future from a state of chronic stress. The American grind culture glorifies hustle, but long-term transformation requires regulated nervous systems. Practice gratitude daily, not surface-level gratitude. Specific gratitude. Appreciate the roof over your head, the ability to learn, the chance to build again. When you generate elevated emotions like gratitude, confidence, or purpose, your body starts memorizing those chemicals instead of stress hormones, and over time, your identity shifts. This is where most people quit, because the external world won't change immediately. You'll meditate, visualize, regulate your reactions, and nothing dramatic happens for a few days or weeks. That's the test. Can you hold a new internal state long enough for reality to catch up? High performers in the United States understand something powerful. Identity drives execution. When you see yourself as disciplined, you don't debate working out. When you see yourself as financially responsible, you don't debate investing. When you see yourself as resilient, you don't collapse under pressure. You act in alignment with who you believe you are. So the mission is not to chase goals. It's to upgrade identity. Ask yourself, what version of me would naturally achieve my biggest goals? How does that version think? How does that version handle criticism? How does that version manage money? How does that version treat their health? Then practice being that person before evidence appears. This is not fake confidence. This is neurological training. Remember, the brain does not change because you wish it to. It changes because you repeatedly fire and wire new patterns. Consistency beats intensity. 5 minutes of focused visualization daily beats one random burst of motivation. One conscious emotional interruption per day beats waiting for a perfect environment. One disciplined action repeated for 90 days reshapes identity. And here's something serious. If you don't consciously design your identity, society will do it for you. Social media will define your standards. News cycles will define your fears. Comparison will define your worth. Breaking the habit of being yourself is reclaiming authorship. It's deciding that your past does not get a vote in your future. Maybe you've failed before. Maybe you've quit before. Maybe people underestimated you. None of that matters unless you keep rehearsing it. The moment you stop emotionally identifying with the old story, it begins losing power. Neuroscience shows that when you stop firing certain neural circuits, they begin to weaken. The old personality literally loses biological strength. But you must be persistent. There will be days you slip, days you react, days you feel like the old version again. That's not failure. That's withdrawal from emotional addiction. Stay steady. Transformation is not loud, it's quiet. It happens in private decisions, in paused reactions, in disciplined mornings, in uncomfortable conversations you handle differently. And one day, you'll notice something subtle but powerful. You no longer get triggered the same way. You no longer doubt as quickly. You no longer seek validation as desperately. You feel grounded. That's when reality begins to shift. Opportunities show up because you show up differently. People treat you differently because your energy communicates stability. You take risks because fear no longer controls your nervous system. You didn't manifest magic. You became someone new. If you're serious about breaking the habit of being yourself, commit to this. For the next 30 days, observe, interrupt, rehearse, and elevate. No excuses, no waiting, no external validation. Your stress right now? It's a signal that the old identity is no longer sustainable. Let it go. Choose discipline over comfort, awareness over autopilot, intention over reaction. Because 5 years from now, you will either be living a redesigned identity or explaining why nothing changed. The decision is happening in this moment, and if this message resonated with you, if you're ready to rewire your mind, rebuild your identity, and take control of your future, subscribe to the Motivational Audiobook Spot and stay locked in. This channel is built for serious transformation, not surface motivation. Your new self is waiting. Break the habit, reclaim your mind, rewrite your future. Right now, There is a version of you that already exists in potential. Not a fantasy version. Not a perfect version. A disciplined, emotionally stable, focused version. And that version is separated from you by one thing: repetition. The old you is repeated daily. The new you must also be repeated daily. Most people misunderstand transformation. They think it's about one big breakthrough, one powerful seminar, one emotional decision. But real change is biological. It's neurological. It's chemical. If you've been living in survival mode, stressed, reactive, overthinking, your nervous system has adapted to chaos. Calm might even feel unfamiliar. Success might feel uncomfortable. Stability might feel boring. That's because your body has memorized stress. When you try to change, your body sends signals. This doesn't feel like you. This feels different. Go back to what's familiar. And most people listen. But here's the advanced truth. Discomfort is the withdrawal symptom of growth. When you choose discipline instead of distraction, your brain resists. When you stay calm instead of reacting, your body feels tension. When you act confident without external proof, doubt whispers louder. That's not a sign to stop. That's a sign the old wiring is losing control. In American culture, we're trained to chase outcomes. More money, better body, higher status. But outcomes are delayed feedback. Identity is immediate leverage. Shift identity and behaviors follow. So let's go deeper. Your environment reinforces your old self. The same room, the same habits, the same people, the same music, the same conversations. Everything around you is a cue that reminds your brain who you've been. If you want to break the habit of being yourself, you must become intentional about inputs. Audit what you consume. What are you watching daily? Who are you talking to daily? What language are you using daily? If your conversations revolve around complaints, politics, drama, and scarcity, your identity will stay anchored in reaction mode. High-level individuals guard their mental diet. You don't need to cut everyone off, but you must protect your focus, because attention is creative power. Where attention goes, neural wiring grows. Let's talk about self-talk. Most people speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to someone they love. I always mess up. I'm bad with money. I'm not disciplined. I can't focus. Stop labeling yourself with permanent language. The brain listens to identity statements as instructions. Instead of, I'm bad with money, say, I'm learning to manage money effectively. Instead of, I'm not disciplined, say, I'm building discipline daily. Language reshapes identity. Now let's address something serious. You may have built your identity around struggle. Maybe being the underdog became part of your story. Maybe you identify as the one who's always overlooked, always grinding, always stressed. If struggle is part of your identity, peace will feel unfamiliar. If chaos is part of your identity, calm will feel suspicious. So ask yourself honestly, who am I without my stress? Who am I without my excuses? Who am I without my past disappointments? That silence might feel uncomfortable. Good. Because that's where reinvention begins. The future version of you does not argue with discipline. That version wakes up and executes. That version doesn't wait to feel like it. That version acts from commitment, not mood. Mood is temporary. Identity is stable. If you only act when motivated, you will always be average. High performers act from identity standards, not emotional impulses. So create standards, not goals. Standards. A goal says, I want to get in shape. A standard says, I train 4 times per week no matter what. A goal says, I want to save money. A standard says, I invest a percentage of every paycheck. Standards eliminate negotiation, and negotiation is where the old self survives. Let's talk about visualization at a higher level. Most people visualize outcomes: the car, the house, the success. But advanced mental rehearsal focuses on behavior under pressure. Visualize staying calm when criticized. Visualize saying no when tempted. Visualize finishing work when distracted. Visualize making bold decisions without overthinking. Your brain encodes rehearsal as experience. When real life mirrors that scenario, you respond with familiarity instead of fear. That's how you accelerate change. Another critical principle: emotional regulation equals power. If someone can trigger you easily, they control you. If circumstances can break your focus instantly, they control you. Breaking the habit of being yourself means mastering your internal state, not suppressing emotion, mastering it. When anger rises, breathe deeper. When anxiety spikes, slow down your thoughts. When doubt appears, question it. Ask, is this thought useful? Is it factual? Is it helping me build the identity I want? Most thoughts collapse under scrutiny. You are not obligated to believe every thought you think. And here's something most people don't want to hear. Your friends and family may resist your change, not because they hate you, but because your transformation forces them to confront their stagnation. When you become disciplined, it highlights their inconsistency. When you become calm, it exposes their reactivity. When you level up financially, it challenges their comfort zone. Be prepared for subtle resistance. Stay respectful, stay grounded, but stay committed, because this is your life. And time is not slowing down. 5 years will pass whether you evolve or not. The question is, will you still be explaining your potential or living it? The habit of being yourself was built over years of repetition, so don't expect instant rewiring. Expect steady progress. Measure small wins. Did I pause before reacting today? Did I follow through on one commitment? Did I speak to myself with strength instead of criticism? Did I choose growth over comfort once? That's momentum. Momentum compounds. Identity compounds. Identity compounds. 1 disciplined day turns into 7. 7 turns into 30. 30 turns into a new baseline. And one day, you won't recognize the old version of yourself. Not because you became someone fake, but because you became intentional. If you're listening right now under pressure, financially, emotionally, mentally, understand this. Pressure is not punishment. It's preparation. Steel is forged under heat. Character is forged under resistance. Don't run from the discomfort of becoming someone new. Lean into it, because the version of you that handles pressure calmly, that executes without drama, that moves with clarity, is built through controlled exposure to challenge. Stay steady. Rewire your mornings. Guard your inputs. Upgrade your language. Set standards. Interrupt reactions. Rehearse the future identity. Do this long enough, and your environment will adjust to you. This isn't about motivation. It's about ownership. And if you're committed to serious mental transformation, stay connected with the Motivational Audiobook spot. This is where high-level mindset work happens. No noise, no hype, just execution-focused growth. Keep going. You are not stuck. You are rewiring. There comes a moment when you realize no one is coming to rescue you. Not the perfect opportunity, not the perfect mentor, not the perfect timing, just you. And that realization is not depressing. It's empowering. Because the same mind that created your current limits is the mind that can destroy them. Right now, as you're listening, you have 2 identities available. The familiar one, shaped by past mistakes, old habits, emotional reactions, and stories you've repeated for years. And the emerging one, disciplined, focused, emotionally controlled, decisive, powerful. The only difference between them is practice. You don't become the new version by wishing. You don't become it by consuming content endlessly. You become it by embodying it daily. In the United States, competition is everywhere. Everyone is building something. Everyone is branding something. Everyone is chasing something. But very few are mastering themselves. Self-mastery is the ultimate unfair advantage. When you can control your thoughts under stress, when you can regulate your emotions under pressure, when you can execute without waiting for motivation, You separate yourself automatically. Let's get serious for a moment. If you continue reacting the same way, thinking the same way, procrastinating the same way, doubting the same way, your future will be predictable. Predictable income, predictable results, predictable frustration. Breaking the habit of being yourself is about disrupting predictability. It's about waking up and refusing to let yesterday dictate today. The old identity thrives on autopilot. Autopilot says, "I'll start tomorrow. I'm too tired. I'll do it when I feel ready. It's not the right time." The new identity says, "I execute now. I adapt. I stay composed. I follow through." You cannot wait to feel confident before acting. Confidence is built through action. You cannot wait to feel disciplined before committing. Discipline is built through repetition. You cannot wait for clarity before moving. Clarity is built through engagement. Action creates identity. Let that sink in. Most people believe identity creates action, but it works both ways. Every time you act in alignment with your higher self, you cast a vote for that identity. One disciplined choice, one controlled reaction, one focused work session, one difficult conversation handled calmly. Vote by vote, you become someone new. Now understand this, your nervous system will test you. It will bring back old triggers. It will remind you of past failures. It will whisper familiar doubts. Why? Because the brain prefers familiarity over growth. But you are no longer operating unconsciously. When doubt shows up, observe it. When fear rises, breathe through it. When procrastination tempts you, move anyway. The power is in the interruption. The moment you interrupt the old pattern, you weaken it. And repetition of interruption builds strength. Let's talk about standards again, but deeper. Standards are non-negotiable agreements with yourself. They are private commitments that do not require applause. The new you wakes up when the alarm rings, not because it feels good, but because it's aligned. The new you trains even when tired, not because it's convenient, but because it's required. The new you saves, invests, studies, builds, even when no one is watching. Because identity is built in private. Public success is simply private discipline revealed. If you are serious about breaking the habit of being yourself, you must eliminate self-betrayal. Every time you say you'll do something and don't, you weaken self-trust. Every time you break your word to yourself, you reinforce inconsistency. Start small. Keep one promise today, then another tomorrow, then another next week. Stack integrity. Self-trust builds confidence faster than external validation ever will. Now let's address emotional addiction at an advanced level. Some people are addicted to stress because it makes them feel important. Some are addicted to chaos because calm feels empty. Some are addicted to struggle because it gives them identity. If you remove the struggle, who are you? If you remove the excuses, who are you? If you remove the emotional drama, who are you? You become powerful. Calm is powerful. Clarity is powerful. Control is powerful. And power does not need to be loud. It's quiet. It's focused. It's intentional. When you walk into a room regulated and composed, people feel it. When you speak without emotional volatility, people respect it. When you move without desperation, opportunities align. Not because of magic, because stability attracts trust, and trust creates leverage. Leverage creates results. You are not trying to become someone else. You are trying to remove everything that isn't aligned with your highest potential. Remove the impulsive reactions. Remove the victim mindset. Remove the self-doubt narrative. Remove the emotional over-identification with the past. And what remains? Strength. Breaking the habit of being yourself is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming aware enough to choose differently. Different thought, different response, different action, different outcome. Over time, those differences compound. Imagine 1 year from now. If you interrupt one negative reaction daily, if you execute one uncomfortable task daily, If you improve one skill consistently, if you protect your mental environment intentionally, in 365 days, you will be unrecognizable. Not lucky, unrecognizable. But you must decide, are you committed to temporary comfort or permanent evolution? Comfort is seductive. Growth is demanding. Comfort whispers. Growth commands. Choose wisely. And understand this. No one will clap for your internal transformation. There will be no headlines when you resist reacting, no trophies for emotional control, no applause for discipline. But the rewards show up quietly. Increased income, improved relationships, stronger body, sharper focus, deeper confidence. Results are delayed but inevitable. If you stay consistent, if you're still listening, that tells me something. You're not casual. You're not distracted. You're serious. Good. Because serious individuals build serious outcomes. Let this be the moment you draw a line. No more repeating the same emotional patterns. No more negotiating with excuses. No more identifying with past limitations. You are not your history. You are your decisions. And from this point forward, your decisions must reflect the future you claim to want. Stand up internally. Take ownership. Slow down your reactions. Speed up your execution. Tighten your standards. Elevate your mindset. And stay locked in. If this message moves something inside you, if you felt that shift, that clarity, that urgency, don't let it fade. Subscribe to the Motivational Audiobook Spot right now. This isn't surface-level hype. This is serious mental conditioning. This is identity reconstruction. This is next-level execution psychology built for action-driven individuals in the USA who refuse average. Hit subscribe. Turn on notifications, commit to growth. Because on the Motivational Audiobook Spot, we don't repeat comfort. We build power. You have one mind, one life, one timeline. Break the habit, rewrite the identity, execute relentlessly, and become the version of yourself that 5 years from now will look back and say, that was the moment everything changed.